Um, your viewers might remember a few months ago, we had a coup against OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, and that involved these questions of safety. OpenAI is structured as a little differently as a company. They are structured primarily as a nonprofit with a for-profit wing. That's a really difficult balance to strike when growth is so explosive like we've seen over the last 6 months. I think one of the things we need to keep in mind is that internal company safety committees can only take us so far. We've got really big challenges to face in terms of AI and how it's impacting society. And these questions and decisions are much bigger than any one company. We're going to need to start to rein in the companies and make sure we've got regulation that works for everyone.
And that is, I guess the feeling that many people have. It's almost like the genie is already out of the bottle. Just a safety committee is not really going to help us grapple with the issues that we're seeing unraveling at the moment.
Well, one of the metaphors I love to say is imagine that there are engineers who are really, really good at asphalt. They're great at making roads. And they tell all of us, those beaches, those great beaches in Victoria, let's just pave over them because it'll be more efficient. And we're really good at this and you should trust us. We would never stand for those kinds of decisions to be made that way. And so we're having the same conversation right now with large AI companies. There's a lot of cash on the table. The stakes are really high. And for those of us who don't work for these companies, we're asking, hey, wait a second. What about the kinds of questions that we care about? What about our jobs, our planet, our communities, our elections, our democracies? We've got some real questions to work out, and we can't get there by the companies alone.
Yeah. Monitoring themselves is something that seems even odd, given this very week the Hollywood actress Scarlett Johansson has taken them to court, OpenAI, because she turned them down. She didn't want to be the voice of ChatGPT, but they just came up with the voice that was pretty much hers.
Well, I'm going to paraphrase a famous line from the television show The Wire. You don't take notes on a criminal conspiracy. I'm not saying there's criminal conspiracy here, nor would I use the language that Stryker Bell, the character, actually did for that. But OpenAI, Sam Altman, reached out to Scarlett Johansson clearly when the company was in the process of making this choice to use her voice and train the model on her voice. Now, this is how it appears to those of us outside the company. That may not be the case. The courts will decide. But that's what it looks like right now. And again, for the rest of us, if Scarlett Johansson is having a hard time holding on to control for her intellectual product, what does that mean for the rest of us who are not multi-million-dollar Hollywood stars? I think the case is striking because, we have a situation in which the company has gone repeatedly back to her saying, please, please let us use her voice, and then went ahead and did this, made this decision anyway. To me, that looks like there's questions around the legality that we still have to work out, and that some of these young companies with, let's say, untested CEOs need to figure out how they're going to get their exciting technologies to work with the existing laws and regulations that we have.
I'm sure you've caught up with this AI-generated image of Gaza, and it's called Eyes on Gaza. It's been shared by millions, but it's come in for a lot of criticism as well for sort of not showing the terrible footage that's coming out of Gaza. What are your thoughts about the use of an image, like an AI-generated image like this?
Listen, we have an entire sector in the film industry that is making computer-generated images, essentially AI-generated images. And as viewers, we're really savvy and we understand that. And I think what's interesting about the Eyes on Gaza, the Eyes on Rafah image that circulated and went viral this week is twofold. One, it's an image that brings the text into the image, making it easier to circulate, making it easier to bypass perhaps some of the filters that we have on certain kinds of political content. just having computer generated or artificial intelligence generated images isn't in and of itself bad. Think of the Pope and the Puffer. No one really suffered from the Pope and the puffer jacket image from a few months ago. The challenge is when we use those images to deceive, scam, bring people into different kinds of political realities. And that's what I think people are really upset about. In this particular image, we have almost a perfect storm of an image that's designed to get the maximum virality. It's designed to help communicate a message. And it's designed in some ways to be sanitized so that people can express an opinion about what's going on in Rafa. So I think one of the things we always need to keep in mind about the conversation we're having about Gen AI is we're having that conversation about our information ecosystems as well. We're having that conversation about where people get news and who are the trusted sources.
And Gina, I mean, that is just a daily landmine exercise for journalists. We're seeing these massive deals with publishers. News Corp has just signed a $250 million deal over 5 years. What do you think this is going to mean for the news industry and for how people feel they can trust information?
Well, first, we can't let the news industry be the collateral damage for an extraordinarily fast-growing industry. If the stereotypical motto for the tech industry is move fast and break things, two things I don't want broken are democracy and news. So how are we going to ensure that good, high-quality journalism isn't simply the input for large language models and generative AI? We need to make sure that we're funding appropriately and protecting appropriately the work of journalists. The challenge will be, as we develop these models, making sure that we have a public conversation that is trusted and reliable with high quality sources. Right now, the outputs of large language models are, as again, your viewers likely know, suffer from what is called hallucinations. They can be wrong, they can make up sources. That's not to the level we expect journalism. And so it's going to take, I think, a reinvestment in and a commitment to making sure we have high quality information to make sure we get through this Gen AI moment on the other side with those things intact.
Let's hope we do. Great to have you on, Gina. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bev.